All right, and we are recording. People still coming in. That's great. They're going to flow in through the time. So, welcome to those who are here and those who are watching on the replay. This is the AI Rocket intro and guided setup workshop. In all honesty, we built this app to be a self-guided onboarding system. That is the goal. But we realize this is a new type of product that most people haven't seen. And so we thought it'd be good to offer setups with people to walk people through, take a little bit of the mystique out. But at scale, we want this to be as easy to use as Uber or any kind of other apps where people get on, set up their accounts, and start using it without needing support. But I'm happy that you guys are here. I'm going to walk you through what it looks like to set up your account or use your account if you've already set it up and haven't gone through that yet. So I'm going to share my screen and I've got a user account that's ready to set up. So we'll walk through it here. All right, let me start with why we created AI Rocket. I've been in GoBundance for 4 years now, and I love being an entrepreneur. And I've been leading the AI Microtribe for a year, and I love hearing about how entrepreneurs are trying to use AI in their business, their personal life, and other areas. And I set up a company a year ago with the mandate of let's have no employees and let's use AI to do all the work. And it was crazy. We didn't have any idea what that meant, but we just said we are going to solve for that. And we've had an incredible journey doing that. And it's been really transformative and it's forced us to learn a lot. We started trying to teach people how to use AI to run their business. We got a lot of people that said, that's a cool idea, but I'm never going to do that. I don't have the time. I don't have the expertise. I don't have the energy. I don't have the patience to go figure it out. And we saw an opportunity. Let's build an easy button where people can run their business, grow their business, build anything they want using AI, but let's try to make it easier for them. And so we switched into product mode. So AI Rocket is our attempt to solve most of the problems that we hear from entrepreneurs in using AI for their business. It's hard to connect my data. It's hard to get my team to understand how to use it. It's hard to know what to prompt. It's hard to get an agent to do things for me, right? I don't want to have to ask every single time for every single thing I want. I just want it to know and execute. And we've tried to do a lot of that in here. So I'm going to show the setup here. And if you are already on AI Rocket, you've got an account, you've got a launch code, or you're already in, try to follow me along in what you're doing. If you can follow along on your own screen or your own browser, and because this is supposed to be a guided setup. So I'm going to set up my account. You guys can set up yours, or I might answer some questions in my setup that you've had. And then if you've got questions, put them in the chat. Marshall is going to help bring up questions that are in the chat. He might be able to answer a lot of your questions that are in the chat. And Marshall will ping me if there's any questions in the chat that I need to have as well. All right, so we start by going to airocket.app. And here you're going to put in the email address of your account. If anybody doesn't have an account in airocket.app, put it in the chat and I'll get you an invite right now because it's still invite only. Okay, so here I'm going to put in my email address. It recognizes that I am not a current user, so I'm a new user, so I've got to put in the rest of my info. Did I properly copy my launch code? I did. So when you copy your launch code, if it's a legitimate launch code, it'll recognize that you are a new team and you're signing up for a new team. I'll put in my password here. There we go. All right, I agree with giving my soul, my life away to the company for using their product. Here we go, create account. And self-explanatory, but let's get our full name in here. Clay Speakman, 55. My team is AI Rocket. Now, people ask, what does a team mean? It could be your business. It could be a project. It could be your family. It could be a nonprofit. It could be a church that you're setting this up for. It's whatever the organization or the project that you want to use AI for in this case. So most of us, it'll be our business or one of our businesses. All right, so now we get a little bit of a, Bob, I see you. I will get you an invite out as soon as this call is over. You'll get an invite. Or Marshall, you could log into the admin dashboard and generate a preview invite in the admin dashboard, and then Bob will get it within a few minutes.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, great. So now we are in the welcome. You can read this stuff. You can just keep hitting continue until you break something. This is just for your information, a little bit of different features that are in the app, but we're going to get in there soon enough. And if you're not aware, everyone who's signing up on the app right now is automatically enrolled in our $5 million Moonshot challenge. This is just the more that you use it, the better your team score is and the better chance you have at winning one of the prizes we're going to give away in mid-April. There's a lot more of that once you get in the app that explains it. So here we go. You have a choice here to either set up your own team or invite an admin to set up your team. If you don't want to mess around with any of this and you want to hand this off to someone on your team, you can click this button, you'll put in their information, they can log in, and then they can resume the setup for you. Most of you on this call, maybe you're going to want to do this yourself. I'm going to hit, I will set up my team. And it's going to tell me everything that I'm about to do, which let's just do it. So now we get into the launch preparation flow. This is designed to do a few things. One, it's going to get your data connected to AI Rocket. That is the most difficult pain point that we have seen among users trying to use AI for businesses. It is very difficult to connect your data to AI. It's very complicated. It involves a lot of moving pieces, and we've tried to make it super simple. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click into this fuel box here. In the fuel box, you get a little bit of a tutorial on what the data sync does, how it works, the different types of categories that your data might be in, different file types, everything like that. But we're just going to close that out, and we're going to get right into syncing the data. So first thing here is I need to give it some data. There's three options in the data that you can connect. The simplest is just drag and drop. You have a few files on your computer that you want to drag in, you can just drag them in, or you can do the browse files, and then you can open up your file thing. Two ways to do here. The more advanced, which I do recommend, is connect your Google Drive or connect your Microsoft OneDrive. And this is going to allow you to select a folder, and everything in that folder is going to be synced, and it's going to be synced in motion, meaning as you add more files to that folder, they're going to be synced. As you update or change files in that folder, they're also going to be synced. So it's very powerful. If you just click it once, set it, and forget it, you're going to always have a sync from those. And you can connect both Google or Microsoft at the same time if you want to, if you have got different accounts in different places. So I'm going to connect the Google Drive here. So we're going to go Google Drive. Now we just enabled the Microsoft sync today. So if you're Microsoft or Teams user or SharePoint, you can do very similar things there. You're going to connect here. It's going to ask you to log into your Google account. So here you're logging into whatever Google account that you have associated with your files here. Google's going to verify that, ask you for your password here. Then you're going to agree to give Google access. Yes, I will agree to give access. Yes, I trust this app. There we go. Now, some users will get a security verification question here where Google has to send you an email and you have to click on that email. If that's the case, you'll get a notification that your connection was not successful to check your email box. And then Google might ask you to click on a verification link and then you can try it again. So those are some things you might see, but we didn't see that here. So next, we're going to decide, do we have a folder we want to connect or do we want to create our own folder? So I do have a folder. I'm going to hit this, and then here we go. We've got different folders that we can connect. So I'm going to go look and do a search for my strategy folder. There we go. Now, people ask, what are the kinds of data that I should be connecting? And I'll say, if you have, folder is empty. Yeah, there we go. Let's open Google Drive. Let's say my folder is empty. All right, let's go pick a different folder. I picked a folder that doesn't have anything. Let's do this and let's delete this and let's add another folder. So you should really start with, if you have a chance, it's really good to start with a strategy document. Things that talk about your mission, your core values, your goals, your targets, your plans. Those are great documents to start with. And at the end, you just want to connect any document that your sales documents, your financial documents, if you're comfortable with that, your people documents, your legal documents, everything like that. Those are great things to do. So here we go. I connected my folder. I connected the right one this time. I've got 13 files that are in here that are available to sync. I'm going to start this sync. So now it's going to grab that information from my Google Drive. It's going to process it. It's going to sync it, and it's going to get it ready for the AI to understand the information there. Now, when we're syncing these documents, we're not taking them from the Google Drive. We're not altering them from the Google Drive. Your data is still in the Google Drive, and it's unchanged. What we're doing is making copies. We're vectorizing it. We're encrypting it, and then we're adding categorization. So in a single document that you have, there might be 15 different topics discussed. Let's say you record meetings, and there's a transcript of an hour-long meeting that you have with your team. There could be 15 or 20 different topics discussed in that transcript. The AI is looking at that and going through the content and saying, okay, here's what this meeting was about. Here's all the topics that were discussed. Here is all the people that were involved. And here's a bunch of classification tags. So the benefit of that is that when you chat with Astra about anything, it understands where to find all the information in your data. Now, it doesn't matter what you titled that document. You can title the document Sesame Street, even if it contains all your financials. The AI is going to look at the content of your files, not the file name, not the topic. So you do not need to organize your data. You don't need to categorize it. You don't need to put it in the right kinds of folders. Your financials could be mixed in with everything else. Your financials could be discussed in a call that was about marketing. And the AI is still going to pull that information from the marketing call because there was financials discussed that are relevant to answering questions or generating a report or anything like that. So you don't need clean data in this type of system. All right, so here we go. We got 13 different documents that are synced in 6 different categories. So let's look at the documents. Apparently I have a recipe for pesto in my strategy documents, which is awesome. And I've got a bunch of other stuff in here that does look more legitimate. This is a test folder I set up, so I probably threw a few things in there that didn't need to be in there. Now we've got the ultimate pesto recipe that we can make if we wanted to. Now I can sort here. I can look at different sources of where my data is coming from. I can sort and filter by category here. So this is also a nice reference point. You can look at things by sync date, by name, by category. And then the AI has already gone through my data and categorized the data based on different categories. So how many strategy, files, operations, reference, product, financial, marketing. I didn't have to set up any of this. I don't have to build the category chart. I don't have to tell it what the data comes from. It already knows how to go through that. So now that I've connected some data, you can see I've earned some points. I'm now at level 2 in the fuel stage. And as I add more documents and more categories, I'll progress up. But now I can go on to the booster stage because I've progressed to this level. The booster stage is going to show you how to use the AI with your data. So we're going to start by doing a chat with Astra. And when we click on this, what Astra is doing is looking at the 13 documents that I had synced and understand what kind of data was in those documents, and then build a prompt to maximize that. So this is the opposite of what most people are used to doing when they use AI. Most people are used to generating the prompt and then attaching the data to support it. This is the reverse. This is go look at all my data and then tell me what I can do with it. The guided chat is going to help you pick one of the 3 options to start with. And let's just pick one here. And what Astra's going to do is then go through my actual data, go through the records, and answer a pretty complex prompt here. In this case, it's analyzing the recent strategy documents, identifying our unique advantages, our unique approaches to our team, and how we can prioritize things better. So you can notice this prompt is very specific to me and my team. That's because the prompt was generated by looking at the data that I had. And we should see a response within about 30 seconds here. There we go. So I've got a pretty rich answer that's totally focused on my data. So talking about my unique approach, connected data and workflows. And again, this is just for our business. Yours will be very different. And I can see the different sources that it pulled from. These are the documents and the data that it went out and grabbed from my synced folder to be able to answer this question. And then I proceed here, and now I'm in booster level 2. So now I'm going to take that response here, and I'm going to create a visualization from it, because sometimes we like to read our answers, sometimes we like to see them in graphics and charts. So this is going to take the same response that I just got, and it's going to use Gemini 3 to create a visualization for me. So this is going to create more of a dashboard based on that response. There we go. Again, this is just a visualization of the same response that I already received back. There's no new information here. It's just displayed in a way that's easier to grasp, comprehend, and understand. And again, I see the documents down here that it was brought from. So I can proceed out of this, and I've got two things to do with reports here. Reports are one of the biggest values that's in the app right now, because a report can run on a schedule and can go get information from your data, analyze it, and deliver it to you. It delivers it to you in the app, but it also emails you the information as well. So I've asked Astra to generate the first report. And again, it went and it looked at my data first, and then it's suggesting 3 different types of reports that I can run. So I'm going to go with strategic and operational alignment, but there's several other topics that I can use here. I'm going to click that. It's going to generate this report. Now, reports are different than prompts. Prompts are designed to answer the specific question that we're asking. A report is designed to look at all the data and come up with a complete summary of different things that exist in our data, plus outside factors. So reports are going to search the web. They're going to look at news articles. They're going to bring in some outside data that could be relevant to help you with your report. And once you're in the app, you can schedule an unlimited number of reports for anything that you could think of. You can do financial reports and team reports and sales reports and strategy recommendations. And there's lots of different ways you can do it. You can schedule them on a daily basis, a weekly or a monthly basis, or you can run them on a custom schedule as much as you want. And we'll show that a little bit, but we're almost done with our first report. And then we're going to get through the onboarding in the next few minutes. So here's our first report. It's our strategy dashboard here. You can see a nice layout here. And in the app, once you get these reports, you can export these to PDF. You can save them. So there's lots of different things you can do with the reports once we get here. And last thing we're going to do in the booster stage is we're going to schedule our first report. So here's where you see the different options for daily, weekly, monthly. So I'm going to schedule a daily news report. The template text is already there, so you could just go with this, or you could add a variation to it, or you can write up your own custom report, but I'm just going to go with the default here. And this is going to give me every day at 8 a.m. a daily news report that looks at the latest news over the last 48 hours and provides insights on anything that affects my team's mission, goals, or initiatives. So this is going to customize the report to news that's relevant for me and my team based on my data. I'm going to schedule that report. Now it's set up. And now I can open up the guidance, which is our third area here. And in guidance, there's just 2 quick things you can do. You can tell the AI different types of meetings that you have. So if you have a leadership meeting that happens every Monday, but you call it the team huddle, or you call it your L10, you can name it here and you can say, okay, this is our team huddle. What this does is whenever you ask about team huddle or wherever you ask about L10, the AI knows exactly what you're talking about. You don't have to set up any of these. You can leave them at the defaults and it won't restrict what you're trying to do. It's just a little bit better optimization if you have meetings that you've got scheduled. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to go to the next level. News preferences, again, there's default set. You don't have to set your own, but if you are in an industry and you want to click on any of these, AI, real estate, consulting, and then if there's any kind of custom topics that you'd like to be informed on, consulting for agriculture, right? Not my business, but if I was in that business, these are things I might want to do. And you can put as many of these topic tags as you want. And so AI is just going to pay more attention to news articles and websites around these custom topics as you put in there. And then you can search, you can add a filter for how many news results you want in your search. The broader you are, the more variance you're going to get. I'm going to save those and proceed. So now I am ready to launch. I can go back in and continue the guidance process. I can go through more of the guidance, but I am ready to get into the main app. So I'm going to do that. Going to launch our rocket here. And then you've got a little bit of a click tutorial that just shows you where things are in the app. So now we're in the main app. This is how you chat with your Astra agent. This is where you find your prompt suggestions. This is where you can view your reports on the reports page. This is how you handle your data sync up here in the right-hand corner. This is how you manage your team members, and we'll go through all that. And then welcome. So we are now in the main app. So I do want to play around with some things in the main app, but I do want to ask, has anybody had trouble getting to this point so far who's been following along or who's tried previously? Have you run into any problems?
Yeah, Clay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Kyle.
Kyle, hey man. Yeah, so I pinged you a couple times. There was a bug and I filed it. Every time I was generating a report, it basically crashed on me, sent me back to mission command, and reset the baseline for the second step back down like 2 out of 5. Anyway, I X'd out of it. It worked and then it
Okay, is it working now?
yeah, it is. You just had to press X on the generate report thing and then it like stopped glitching. So
Okay. Yeah, it was, so there was an issue in our agent where it was running reports yesterday, and if you didn't have any meeting data, it would just go back and keep looking and it was crashing out. We did fix that yesterday.
yep, you guys nailed it. Other than that, works awesome.
Okay, let's see. Oh, Leland Parker had a note in the chat about the Google Drive scope is too broad. Leland, do you want to add more to that?
In your FAQ, you state that the Google Drive authentication can be scoped to specific drives when that OAuth token is generated. However, in practice, you're requesting full access to pretty much all Google Drive documents without any scope, which for a test run is against our internal policies. So we just need to set up a more restricted account. Because ideally what we would do is start a project like this on a shared drive, just so we make sure that nothing too broad is shared during a trial.
Okay. I can tell you from the architecture standpoint, the only Google scope that allows you to view and select your folders is the full drive scope. So what it means is you have to give Google access to our app to see all of your folders so that you can select which ones you want to sync. And then we only sync to the folder that you select. But in order for our app to look at your Google Drive and say, here's all the available folders you can sync, we have to have that scope. But the sync only happens with the folders that you select.
And listen, I'm sure as we explore this and understand more of how you all do things, that'll be totally fine. Just when you're first testing out something, until we know how you handle your OAuth tokens, how you do things from the back end.
Sure.
Yeah, we just always want to be cautious.
Yeah. And if you have any specific questions around that, you can send it to me. And if the FAQ is not addressing it, I'll give you more detail.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Brent, if you can send me, I see you're sending a message about Microsoft asking you to give admin approval. Again, that's an issue with Microsoft requiring some types of accounts to give a secondary verification. Microsoft may have sent you an email asking you to approve something. Those are not things in our control. Most users don't see that, but some users do.
I haven't gotten anything from them. That's why I was asking.
If you can screenshot any message that you're getting about needing admin approval, I can look at it and see if there's anything we can do in our system.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any other questions going through the launch prep flow, snags, issues, questions any feedback on how we can make it better or any other issues. And then I want to play around with the front end of the app a little bit. All right, Marty asked, can we address the point system? That was my hang up. So Marty, did it stop you from progressing through the Launch Pro? The Launch?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, and where
so-
was
That was in what's the first one called? Whatever the first one's called.
the
And
few-
then I just stopped because I didn't want to play with it at that point.
Okay. We've made about 100 updates in the last 2 weeks, so it's likely that any of the updates we've made have fixed any points issues in the beginning.
Okay.
I can tell you we've onboarded 26 teams today through the system, so I don't have any reports of that being an issue currently.
Okay. Sounds good.
So once we're in the main app, two things, a bunch of different things, but one, you can go back and revisit the fuel, the boosters, the guidance here, and it takes you back into the onboarding suite. So you can revisit that. You can add more things here. You can go into boosters if you haven't tried something, or into guidance if you haven't tried something, but you can access all of these features in the main app as well. You've got your documents here if you want to revisit and see what is synced. You can also delete documents here. So if you have things that are synced that you don't want to be synced anymore, you can delete them. That removes the record from the encrypted database on our side. You can add more files and add more folders with the add and manage. That takes you back here, so you can add more Google folders, or you can connect to Microsoft, or you can do your local file upload. So that's always available from the main page. You can also do a manual sync if you just added some files to your Google folder and you want to force a sync. Otherwise, it syncs on an hourly basis. So you don't have to keep syncing. If you had a bunch of files added or uploaded yesterday, by the time you're in the app, they'll already be there. You can manage your team members here. So this is where you can invite a new member on your team. You've got to put in their email address. You have some role options between admin and member. You've got a financial access toggle that would allow them or prohibit them from being able to see any financial data that's in your data. And then you've got an expanded access for category. Beyond financial, there's also other categories that you can turn on or off. And what this does is, if I turn off something like operations and strategy, because I have a salesperson and marketing who are using it, they're not going to be able to see any data from the AI that is going to involve those categories. I'd be careful about restricting something like strategy, because that's your mission, your core values, your targets, your goals. So it's probably not a good idea. But definitely you could turn off different categories of data so that they wouldn't have access to it. Let's see, in the chat, Brent, does it sync with QuickBooks Online? QuickBooks is on our roadmap to sync. In the meantime, you can export CSV files from QuickBooks and just update the local file, or you can put those in a Google Drive, and then you can get all the data from QuickBooks by doing that. But we will add a sync solution with QuickBooks where it'll automatically sync data like on a 24-hour schedule. You've got your admin settings here where you can, again, revisit the types of meetings that you have. So if you didn't set any of these meetings in the onboard flow, you can come back and set them now. You can revisit the news and industry settings. You can see it's already saved what I entered from the onboarding, but if I wanted to change that, edit that. And again, I've got the category access control, so I can revisit any of that here. So this is your team settings. If you have a member that you've invited who's a member but not an admin, they will not see the admin settings. So this is only for admin users on your team. So now getting into the features, we already saw the Astra chat a little bit, but here is your private chat page. You can continue conversations. Astra has memory, so it remembers conversations. You can ask it follow-up questions. You can have long conversations. And the conversations you have here with Astra are going to further train your AI on the context about your business. So this is a learning AI that's going to learn as you give it input. It learns from your data, and it learns from conversations with you as well. For security purposes, private chats are only available to the user who's chatting. If you have 3 team members on your team, no member on the team, even if you are the team creator, can access any information that's mentioned in a private chat for another user. So this is data privacy that goes every way around. So the private chats are completely private to you. They're in the encrypted database. There's a few things here. We've got the prompt generator tool if you want to run guided chats on your data. Here's a sort of a hit list of different types of prompts that you can use, including one that's just give me great prompts. So there's prompts that are built in that you can do: financial assessment, strategic alignment, leadership meeting insights, things like that, that we found are really helpful, that are be like starter points for you. Here we go. And so that's the chat. You can see a history of your chat here. I only have my first chat. You can also look at your visualizations, which we don't have any of them saved yet. But if I take this right here and I created a visualization, I can save it down to that report. And then next we'll go to the reports page. I already ran this report as part of the onboarding flow, but here's where I can see a history of all my reports. If I want to look at the full view, I can do that here. And here's where I can export this to a PDF if I'd like it, and then I can use it and share it, things like that. If I get the report and I'm interested in the text behind the report, I can also see the raw data. So this is the raw data that the AI actually returned in the response, and then this data was used to create the visualization. So if this is a case where you actually want the data, you can copy it here, use it in another AI. It's very user friendly. And we'll go back to mission control team chat. So if you have multiple users, I encourage you to use the team chat. This is like a Slack or a Microsoft Teams integration into the app. There's two benefits here. One is your AI will understand and learn context from your team chat. This is shared availability. So if there's a discussion going on about a project, a marketing campaign, a company event, then this chat is saved in conversation history and it adds to the context for your whole team. The second is I can bring Astra into the chat. So I can ask Astra questions. And when I ask Astra a question, it's going to answer that, but the whole team is going to be able to see that in the team chat. So that's a helpful tool as well. And going on visualizations, this is just where I can see visualizations that I've saved. It's two new features that we just put out that are really fun. One is a team dashboard. I haven't generated a team dashboard yet for this account, so I'll go ahead and generate that dashboard. This is going to give me a 24-hour metrics dashboard based on my company. Now, I don't have that much data loaded in here yet, so my dashboard might be a little bit incomplete. But the more data that you sync, the better dashboard you're going to have. And the dashboard looks at three things: the alignment to your mission and your core values, the goals and targets that you're tracking, and your overall team health. And it's going to pull that from all the available data that you have in your sync folders. So again, the more data you have, the richer the dashboard is going to be able to be on generating that. Now I'm going to get out of that. It's going to finish on its own. Now, this is the most fun thing I've ever played with, and this is called the Team Pulse. This is where you can generate a high graphic infograph. So I'm going to generate an infograph here, which is the default. And I'm going to generate this, and it's going to look at all my data, and it's going to generate a high resolution infograph based on my data. Now I can customize this to make it show me anything I want. The default is to look at the company and generate a snapshot. But in the customization, you can say, show me a showcase of our marketing campaign, or show me the process of onboarding customers, or show me a diagram of our org chart, whatever you can think of. And it's going to go look at your data, find the information, and create a great visual for you. And you can pick from any number of styles. There's a bunch of style templates that we have in there, but if you don't like one of those, so you see here's the infograph that's been created. Pretty good. It's got all my data in it, and it created it. And then it'll show you below the data that it used for it. So it created this team snapshot, it created this list of insights, and it created a list of trends. But if I wanted to change this up, I can pick any of these other designs. There's some pretty fun ones that are built in, and I can even give it a different focus. So I can choose these preset focuses, or I can go with the custom focus. And the custom focus, I can even change the design. I could say I want a 1980s punk rock feel, or I want a global environmental feel to it, whatever you can think of here. And then you can tell it what you want to see as well. So this is a fun feature. I think people will find all kinds of ways to use this feature that I haven't thought of myself, and That's the idea. And then we've got the Moonshot Challenge here. This is just a progress section where you can go in, you can look at the Moonshot Challenge, and you can see how your team is doing and how other teams are doing. Some of this is available to users. Some of it's proprietary on the back end where we're having our own scoring metrics, but you can get all the information on the Moonshot Challenge on this page. And then if you're interested in what's coming soon, you can browse and you can look at the features that we're working on now. AI specialists, where you can create job roles for AI. Building agents. This is like the #1 requested feature we hear is, how can I build agents that execute tasks for my team? That's going to be built in here. Building SOPs, standard operating procedures from your data. That's coming. Ability to do deep research projects. That's on its way. And creating a business coach where you can give the business coach information on what kind of processes or systems your company runs or your team runs. And then it will build a framework to help keep you on track for that. So some pretty cool features you can click through and look through there. And all of these are on a probably 15 to 30 day timeline to be introduced. All right, so I'm going to stop for questions. Looks like we've answered everything in the chat. Thanks, Marshall. And any other questions that haven't been brought up or haven't been in the chat?
Is there a function for transcribing meetings?
We don't transcribe meetings directly in here. There's a lot of companies in the market that do transcription. Zoom does its own transcription, Google Meets does it, and then there's Fireflies and Otter and other things like that. The important thing is you just pick something to transcribe your data. As long as you're getting your data recorded and transcribed, then make sure it gets sent to a data source like a Google folder or a Microsoft folder, or just directly upload it into AI Rocket on a manual basis. As long as the data gets in, then we'll take it from there.
And then the last one is, when are you going to get QuickBooks integration?
Yeah.
30 days out.
Yeah, Brent asked about that. Yeah, it's probably within the next 30 days.
Perfect. Thanks, man.
For the recordings, I have Google Meet sessions automatically push into the Astra folder. And then for Otter recordings, I created a Zap that takes all the transcripts and then creates a file in the same Google Drive. So everything's automated that I've set up.
How's it working for you?
It works. I'm trying to figure out how to label them so I know what's what. And then we have different sub companies, and so I want to get them to be able to push into different subfolders. So I have to work on that still.
Okay. Yeah. There's several ways to do it. Really, you have to mess with your own settings. Like, you have to change your Google settings to automatically transcribe and send the transcriptions to a folder. But what I found is really helpful is like going into Google Gemini and just telling it what you want to do, and it'll walk you through how to update your own settings. It won't do the settings for you. I'm sure that's something people would love for Gemini to be able to do. Gemini doesn't really understand how to use Google. You think it would, but it can walk you through the steps to do it yourself, but it can't do it for you. Last few minutes here. Anybody have any other questions, issues, feature requests, improvement requests? Yeah.
Question from Kyle. Will everyone's teams be seen on the Moonshot leaderboard, or is it only teams that have signed up for the challenge?
No, everyone's automatically entered into it. I just opened it before, and I'm not sure why it's not showing my team. So this may be a glitch, because in my other account, I do see this.
Clay, can you scroll down and see if you see Leaderly? Because if you can see mine and I see yours, it might be the individual owner.
Yeah, I don't see Leaderly. I see it might be here. Yeah, I don't see it in here. I'll have to check on that. Every team should be active in this. You don't have to individually sign up for the Moonshot Challenge. Every team is automatically put into it. I'll need to check on this, but consider it'll be fixed within half an hour. Cool. All right, guys, nothing else. Appreciate you jumping on, taking your time. If you watch the replay, I hope it comes through, even though we had a glitch and I got kicked out. But that's another issue for Google to settle with me on the side. if you have questions or issues or bugs and you're in the app, use the support message here or just send me a direct message and I'll get to it. And I really look forward to seeing how people use this in creative ways that we've never thought of. And I appreciate you guys taking the time to test it out.
Thank you.
Thanks a ton.
Thanks, everyone. All right. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Clive.